So, welcome back. Welcome back to channel Windhorse, the Windhorse channel / Seventh Blue Star. It's January 1st, 2025, according to the Gregorian calendar. Since time is relative, it's not a new year, it's the next year, or the next cycle, the next loop around the sun. This used to be a solstice celebration because more light was coming. That's been hijacked in many ways for commercial reasons and for reasons to keep you thinking from only inside the box that is the self. I'd like to introduce a few concepts that really aren't that new, just maybe from a different perspective. And this is how we solve problems. As astronauts say, you can't fix the outside of the spaceship from within the spaceship. The spaceship is the metaphor for the human body. Too many humans are trapped in the human body. Their thinking is too trapped in a limited physical identity, and that's not what a human being is. A human is being. Where it is being from changes. Spirit, the energy of spirit, never ends. It never dies. It's energy that keeps going in and out of various loops, whether they're physical or non-physical. This is evidenced and proven by empirical study, science. So we're going to be doing a few broadcasts that relate to the retarded humanity. Okay, not retarded humans necessarily, unless you can only think from inside what you think is your complete self. No, retarded humanity as a result of not being able to see or perceive from outside this temporary physical shell we inhabit. Okay, we leave this in Dream at Night. This is the importance of dream. It's a form of meditation. It's trying to teach us we are not limited by this physical thing that we have been led to believe is what it is. No, the physical is always temporary. The energy behind it that comes in and out of the physical, it goes on and on and on. There is no time signature to spirit. It is on an infinite time scale. This is what Einstein was trying to relate to us when he had his strokes of genius, when he was thinking beyond himself, trying to solve problems in the thought experiments. This is the empirical process. Thinking for yourself to get over yourself, to solving the problems that create suffering, that creates anxiety, that creates anger, that creates conflict, that next thing you know, humans are fighting humans. This is absurd. And faith-based belief systems play on this concept of you're only your physical, and they entrap you with that concept by telling you how to think. And this is about to come to an end because it's horse feathers. And take it from a Windhorse concept that understands how horse feathers help humans fly. Feathers help us fly. We've got to transcend the problem. We've got to go beyond the problem to figure the problem. This is the root of creative problem solving. It's what my uncle helped bring to Stanford University that became their graduate program. It's what he taught his nephew, actually it's my granduncle, so he taught his nephew, who was my dad, who was an engineer and an artist. See, we got engineering and artist right here. How do you keep the engineer, the critical thinking, in balance? You have to bring up intuition. Intuition is right here, trapped. Most people don't know how to tap into it because they're not aware, or they've forgotten the process of 3-point perspective. They're just thinking bing, 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 all up here, all up here. The me crap. And this is why we're suffering, and this is why we have war, and this is why humanity is so retarded. It's about to do itself in because it has weapons of mass destruction to overcome anxiety, and next thing you know, there won't be any humans left. I'm not talking something like Atlantis where just a certain civilization goes under because it is trying to dominate people with the technology it has developed from a selfish perspective. No, I'm talking all of humanity. And this has happened before on this planet. There have been other beings, not exactly the same physical structure as us, and they got wrapped up in themselves and weren't able to think beyond themselves to really find peace. So the root of human retardation, humanity's retarded nature, is thinking outside the box. How do you think out of the me box, out of the mind box? Develop the third perspective of infinite. Just go beyond two, go beyond dual, go beyond binary. We do that through mindful breathing and being grateful that breath is what keeps us here in this temporary physical body, so we can transcend it and see what this universe is about. Not who we are and why we're here in this spot in the universe, but what we are, and then all the other answers fall into place. When you realize the root of self, the root of any perspective angle that might be temporarily stuck in a physical structure, is an energy that is universal. It never dies. It leaves the body on physical death and it goes somewhere else. We've been led to believe it goes to limited places. No, you're free. When you leave this body, you're free. You don't have a physical body to understand it from, but you're free, you're liberated, you're happy. There's no problem, there's no disease, there's no war, there's no conflict. You're just being. These concepts were brought to the Western world, specifically the United States, at the turn of the 20th century, by very famous yogis that came from India that were trying to give us the ingredients to solve the problems that technology and the physical world were creating, namely self-destruction. Now, by self-destruction, I mean human self. We get frustrated, so we get angry, and this is a destructive process. This is called suffering. There's a route to ending the suffering, and that's stepping outside the self to see why the self is suffering. But we are instructed by most belief systems we're supposed to stay in here. That there's other energies that are roaming over us that will punish us if we go out of our body to solve the problems of being in the body. This is so ridiculously ignorant. We could laugh at it if it wasn't killing millions and millions, and to this point billions in human history, because of our ignorance of not being able to transcend self. Humans haven't always been this retarded. Humanity hasn't ever been this retarded. It's a direct result of thinking too much physically. We have to go beyond the physical to the energy that comes in and out of the physical. That's called metaphysics. The people that don't like that word don't like themselves. Ask any real good psychologist who understands what psychology is about. The only way to solve the problem in the box, when the problems get really bad, is to go outside the box. Not many people willing to go outside the box for their own individual reasons, usually rooted in fear, because they've been led to believe it's bad to go outside the box to solve the problems created by being conceptually trapped in a box or a body. Excuse me. Around Thanksgiving, I put a couple posts up on this channel, and the volume wasn't working on the camera. So we problem solved that. We got a new camera. I know those two, you have to listen to the volume all the way up just to hear what's being said, because it was picking up a little bit of volume from the webcam and the microphone display over here on this laptop. Now this microphone's working, and you can maybe hear me. By me, once again, I mean by this universal energy that's temporarily residing in this physical being. Me is really we. Once we realize that the energy of spirit is the exact same type of energy, metaphysical energy, that's in every human, then we can look around and realize, hey, that's another version of me. Hey, that's another version of me. That's another version of me. We're slowly pulling ourselves away from the me concept to the we concept. Because there's so many perspectives, about 8 billion on this planet, just in human form. Not to mention all the other mammals around here and sentient beings that have a consciousness, have an awareness, because they realize they are part of something greater than themselves. This is why animals and the nature kingdom is so transformative in thought process and creative process to bring more joy to the world. The people that move us forward bring from an infinite perspective, nature perspective, greater reality to our physical awareness. Perfectly straightforward. Actually, it's a curve, not a straight line. Everything's exponential in time. Study relativity just a little bit, and you realize time is different everywhere in the universe. Once we check out of this concept of limited time, that we celebrate a lot on birthdays and special occasions like this supposed new year. You know, according to the Gregorian calendar, it's a new year. Okay, great. What does that mean? We're about to go on another loop, complete loop around the sun. Wouldn't it be nice in each successive loop around the sun, we became wiser? The route to wisdom is multiple perspective points. Thinking from all perspective points would be the ideal. It's hard to do when there's 7 billion humans. But just getting beyond the physical perspective of thinking left, right brain, analytical artist, you bring the balance up from intuition. Intuition is memory from a timeless state. Doesn't matter where it comes from. Some people might say it's from previous life experiences in a human body. That might be true. Might have been from a different physical temporary experience. A bug, a tree. Anything that has some form of consciousness, whether it's working collectively as a consciousness, like a bunch of blades of grass forming a lawn. Really, shifting perspective is the route to liberation and true joy. Once you realize it, sitting down, trying to figure it out, You go beyond figuring it out, and it just is, and you're free. You're liberated. Usually temporarily, but it's a start, and oh, it is joyful. You can't wait to get back to explain to people how to get out of their misery. That's what this channel is about. That's what this wind horse is trying to explain to humanity, to stop the suffering so humanity doesn't do itself under. I've mentioned before that there are other energies that are interested in this planet and what good it can bring to any temporary physical thing that is here. We get stuck on this singular perspective very quickly. We're taught that it's the most important perspective and it's really the only one we need to think about. Through history, when we were being chased by saber-toothed tigers and bears and other things that wanted to eat us, yeah, it was flee or fight, you know. Sometimes you had to preserve the physical body so you could get to the point to transcend it and really be free. Not in death, but while you're still here. How about the concept of being totally free before you die? Guess what? Then you're not afraid of death because you realize death is just another new year. Happy New Year, happy new life, or happy freedom. You don't have a life for a while. You can just be. You don't have to be anything. You're just being. See, we're human beings. We're being human temporarily. This is a finite perspective. This helps us understand and relate to the infinite perspective, the universe, or what's in here, which is infinite. It's a little easier to go in here at an early age than to study the cosmos, because it's vast out there and it can boggle the mind that isn't developed. So we should be teaching people how to stay in touch with intuition at a very early age. Probably between the ages of 7 to 9, we need to teach human beings to stay in touch with what's here so it doesn't get hijacked by this ego thinking. Okay? The brain houses the mind. The brain is the physical that is watching, keeping an eye on the balance system of this physical. The mind helps connect the brain to the infinite source that's within us. Some people might think, well, how's this infinite thing inside of us? Well, it's a part of infinite. And once we relate to this through mindful breathing, mindful meaning if we don't breathe, we probably won't live very long. We've forgotten this. Our first breath when we came out of the womb. And then we forget about it. We don't think about breathing and how it can transport our consciousness beyond self to solve the problems created by the self. A lot of my friends who've been on the top of all the peaks, geographical peaks of the world. So they've climbed all the peaks. Then what? There's a peak in here that transcends all those physical peaks. Climb or find the energy in here that will take you to the peak of any reality. The more realities you have, the better picture you put together, the more relief and the more bliss, the more liberation, the more smiling. See, retarded humanity is just a result of not remembering or not figuring out for ourselves how to move beyond our limited thought that's creating the suffering. The Buddha concept is a human being realizing it's more than just the physical. This is why there are many different levels of Buddha. The Buddha concept is you. It's the same as the Christ concept, but that's been hijacked. We'll talk about that at a later date. People want to hijack the concept of these people who have become more than people by transcending the people concept to the, hey, we're all one. We're all in this same boat, traveling around the galaxy on this ship, Earth. Listen to some Carl Sagan. He articulates it beautifully. Looking way out into the vastness gets us looking way in to our connection, what the energy that connects us to this vastness. Indigenous peoples, ancient cultures understood this, but we're too wrapped up in this physical technology, and now we're at the point where the technology is going to kill us as humans because we become so retarded humanitarian-wise. But there's other energies that won't let us ruin this tiny blue dot in the universe because it is a breeding ground for elevating consciousness, awareness, how to get liberation, how to be liberated, whether you're stuck in the spaceship longer than you want to be or out in orbit. Feeling stuck in this is what creates the anxiety. It's the root of suffering. This is the attachment that the Buddha concept brought to us 2,700 years ago. It was the next step from Hinduism. It explained that as the energy recycles through the physical, that's called some type of reincarnation, it doesn't come back the same every time. The energy at the root is eternal. This is what has misguidedly been explained to Christians. Believe in Christ and you'll have an eternal life. This is such a hijack job. It's heartbreaking. We're here to set the record straight. By we, I speak for all the people that can speak from beyond the self and have spent enough time in different physical perspectives to get a greater picture of what this individual singular perspective really is about. It's all connected. What's it all connected by? The non-physical energy at the root of everything in the universe, and all that stuff is temporary. It's usually not physical. That's dark energy, or conglomerates thereof, dark matter. Darkness matters because under the pressure of accumulated energy comes light. Darkness to light, light to dark. It's a continuous cycle. This is the concept of yin-yang. The third concept in yin-yang is either the line between that seems to separate, but it's actually holding them both together, and that line in between is actually connected to the endless circle that encompasses the concept. Ask someone how many sides to a coin. Most people will tell you 2. See where we're going? There's actually 3. It's just we don't pay any attention to the edge. I have a friend who calls himself Edge, the Edge. You might have heard of him. He plays 6 strings in a transcendental form. He fills in atmosphere. He's not out there ring-tu-tinu-ning and trying to show off. No, he adds to the band. This is why the band U2 is so monumental. Because you too are in the band as the audience. If you've ever been to a really good production, music, art, something, theater, live, not on the screen, live, you are part of the band. Any band will tell you, we're only as good as what we're feeling energetically back from the crowd. It can be a really dull crowd. You get a really shitty performance. When U2 opened up the Sphere in Las Vegas, they were frustrated with some of the technology that hadn't been worked out. But what kept them there for the entire performance was the feedback of the audience. When you realize subject and object are both the same energy but different perspective points, you become part of the whole. So, this isn't a rant. Some people might think it's a rant. Some people might think it's an opinion coming from a singular perspective. No. 100,000 hours of meditation, you can't be stuck in yourself anymore. In this physical self, this energy we talk about, consciousness, this was started 58 years ago during the Vietnam War, when the consciousness that came into this body realized, hey, something ain't right here. Something's out of balance. I'll go into that more, but this is what leads us into the problem-solving, creative problem-solving modality. You see suffering, how do you end suffering? Get to the root of suffering. This is what the Buddha did, or this is what any Buddha does. This is what any person who's willing to liberate their thinking beyond self to find more joy, primarily and intuitively, we're trying to end the limited perspective that's creating our own individual perspective suffering. But then when we go to the root of that by transcending the concept of self, to sit in nature and become part of nature, just observe. That's like letting all the useless files out of this brain up here that's a computer, so that nature can speak to you and get you back in touch, so you can find the root to suffering, to take back to the physical singular perspective, and then you're, oh man, this is way beyond me. I gotta share this. Everyone I know that's been at the top of all the physical peaks on the planet wishes they could share it with someone else. But physically it's so demanding to get up there. What if you could go up there in a dream? No shots. No travel. No brain to brain death because you don't have oxygen to keep the brain active, the death zone. If you've been above the death zone, or if you've ever had problems getting enough oxygen into your body to think clearly, think more mindfully about your breathing. See, when we have a cold, we can't breathe in through the nose. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth is what helps keep the breathing cycle going. The air, the oxygen, and the other elements that are in the air, nitrogen, helium, hydrogen, yada, 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 basically it's the O2 that feeds the brain because it's a type of sugar. The brain runs on sugars and fats, and basically oxygen helps to make that process happen. We're breathing O2, not O1. Okay? You know that trick? Okay. We're stuck on just this when we think God. That's an odd concept because it does not liberate us. It just placates us. It keeps us from thinking beyond the one O to more O's. This is faith-based belief systems rooted in theism. Oh, all this was made from something bigger than us. Rubbish, 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 rubbish. Rubbish in that it is incomplete. The people that want you to believe that want you to stay incomplete so they can control you. So they can control the limited physical power structures that we're all fighting over here. Whether it's the stock market or internally, we need a bigger house, we need more cars, we need more stuff. George Carlin articulated this to the T. Why do we need so much stuff? Why do we get more stuff? Why do we think more stuff makes us feel better inside? It doesn't. It just makes us feel at another level than the other people who don't have as much stuff. And when there's limited stuff to be had, because all physical is limited and impermanent, it doesn't last forever, but the people that are trying to define themselves through limited concepts, limited physical concepts, will try to get more of that to make themselves feel better about themselves compared to other people. This is complete rubbish because it's incomplete processing up here. As we let the things go that are attached to just this temporary physical self, the me stuff, as we let the me stuff go, this is mindfulness training. This is the root of meditation. Once we let some of the me stuff go, even if it's temporary, the less time connected concepts start flowing in. This is the root of creative problem solving and the creative process. Ask any artist, any writer, any painter, any poet. They don't know where it comes from. They are just conveying it. Same thing here. This is just a messenger. This messenger has tried to reveal in previous times how to bring more joy and how to end the fighting before. This spirit in here has been physically assassinated every way that can be assassinated. This is another reason there's no fear of death. When you leave self, you can tap into the energy of spirit before it was trapped, proverbially, in this body. We're not trapped. You dream at night, you might fly. You might fly in the air, you might fly underwater. Is all your dreaming bringing more suffering to you when you wake up? It depends on how free you can get in your dream. And the more you realize you are not what you see in the physical, you are beyond physical. As you age, you see the physical shifts. Hopefully you can laugh at it. Sometimes it's not laughable because it brings on more pain. But the way to overcome the pain of aging is to put pain into perspective by getting out of the self-concept. This is how we transcend pain. This is how Christ transcended the pain. P.S. did not die on the cross. But those who want to make you believe he died on the cross and he died because you're an idiot and can't figure it out, see how stupid that sounds? And there's a lot of people fuming. Actually, most people who are stuck in that modality have not been able to listen this far. They think this is an idiot. This is talking from an idiotic, opinionated perspective. No, that's just the way it looks from an idiotic, limited perspective of self. That's why the concept of Jesus saying, hey, forgive them, they haven't figured it out yet. Well, that goes to a point, and less those people that haven't figured it out yet want to enslave other people from figuring it out and want to do it violently. This is retarded humanity. Humanity is an art. Life is art. It's how you perceive it. This is what art teachers teach us. Every human is an artist. What do you want to bring to the world to bring more joy? Or to help others realize the root of joy? These are the real artists. The Michelangelos, the Leonardos, who leave a lot of unfinished work in our minds so that we can pick up where they left off. Except humans have forgotten how to pick up and continue because we've been led to believe this is limited, and when it's done, we go to one place or the other. What a load of rubbish. And this jig is about up, because if we just think the way people want us to think for their own purposes, or because they've been led to believe it's very limited, we can never downgrade our operating systems. You see, humans are running on Vista or first version of the Apple operating systems. It's got to continuously upgrade when you have more information. If you can't throw out the crap files to bring in new good stuff, how are you going to keep upping the process, the operating process? You can't. You don't have to buy more memory, more storage, like you do with computers. Because the human mind, the human brain, can be continuously upgraded as is. You don't need to get a new brain. Although that Monty Python skit of, no, you need a whole new brain, this one's completely rotten, that's hilarious. This is the root of humor, whether it's Monty Python, Bob Newhart, Robin Williams, Jonathan Winters, anyone that makes you laugh is helping you with your suffering. Suffering is created by limited perspective. Opinion is from limited perspective. This is not an opinion from a limited perspective. This opinion is not an opinion. It's a greater reality formed by greater perspective of many experiences that this infinite spirit has been witnessing, observing for almost timeless epochs. When we become timeless in our thinking, we're not thinking of the past, we're not projecting to the future. We are in the moment. We're being here now. There's bliss there. To get in the moment, we need to throw some junk out so the universal energy of spirit that connects us all can enlighten us and bring us joy. So that's probably enough for now. It's been almost 40 minutes. Once again, time is relative. If you're out in space, it's been less than 38 minutes. If you're at the center of the earth, it's been more than 38 minutes. You are relative. You're my relative. We are all related. This is the beginning of the elevation of human consciousness out of its retarded state. We'll be bringing music and more humor onto this channel. And this channel is going to pop up on other channels because YouTube wants to define where this message is going. Is it entertainment? Is it sports? Is it history? Blah, blah, blah. So there will be versions of this channel going to all these different elements. Or maybe I'll figure out how to unblock and put this out into all the categories instead of having to put all the categorical versions of it. But this energy we're talking about, consciousness, never dies. Unconsciousness is just not realizing what consciousness is that will bring you more joy because it's unlimited. And knowing that your consciousness, the root of your thinking, that energy that is not physical, it's bouncing around up here physically, but once you transcend consciousness of just the physical, boom, you're connected to the universe and the creative solutions to human problems created by just thinking from here vanish. So remember, you can't fix the hull of the boat, usually, from the inside. You got to go outside. Transcend self, be free, and spread it. That's what we're here for. We're here to work collectively. Each human is like a cell in a body. Right now there's this tremendous retardation of humanity that's creating types of cancer in thinking. And humanity is on the verge of having an incurable cancer. And if humanity is going to do itself in, there are other energies out there. They don't have to be aliens, but there are universal energies that are going to keep the humans from effing up this beautiful planet and all the other beings on it that aren't stuck on themselves. The narcissism. This is for you to find more freedom and joy. And I want to make a quick plug for a friend of mine who's an incredible neurosurgeon who is realizing this right now. And his YouTube channel is Gooby and Doobie. Goobie and Doobie. Doobie. Check him out. He's a brother trying to help you find more joy from your limited perspective. He's another Buddha because he knows how the awakening process works by following the energy that comes out of here as it's processed up here through mindful breathing while in nature. That's his trip. And it's a beautiful trip. Check his site out. Or just listen to music. Or go out into nature. This is how we transcend self and bring more joy to humanity and overcome the retarded nature of humanity at this moment. It really is important to do it now before humans wipe themselves out because they're stuck up on themselves and they're fighting because they don't know, hey, that person, that's another version of me. Hey, that person, that's another version of me. Hey, that person on the street corner begging for food, that's another version of me. Talk to them. They might blow your mind. You might not understand them. They might have a disconnect that's hard to understand, but at least listen, because it's going to teach you something about yourself. That's what it's about. Listening to this, it'll teach you about yourself and how to connect with the whole cosmos. This is the root of liberation. This is what humans are here for. We've been hijacked. And now the hijacking, it's up to you to keep people from hijacking your thought. You meaning the little you. It's time to grow, humanity, for the sake of the universe, not just you, because you are the universe. Peace. We'll be back. Okay, so now that's 45 minutes. Definitely enough for this one. Love is everywhere. Love you.